Have you ever felt lost, untethered, searching for something more? Welcome to Angelic Footprints, where the spirit meets the road on a journey to self-healing and rediscovery. I'm Dagmar, your host, psychic medium and seasoned traveler. Each week we'll explore the world of angels and personal transformation. We're going to dive into compelling histories and captivating mythology. You're going to hear remarkable, real-life angel encounters and discover how you too can connect with the angels guiding your path. Whether it's through practical tips, meditation techniques, or stories that resonate deeply, Angelic Footprints is here to light your way. From mystical journeys to profound self-discovery, let's embark on this transformative journey together. Are you ready to find your angelic guide? Then subscribe to Angelic Footprints today and step into a world where angels walk beside you every step of the way. Angels, spirituality, healing. Let's ignite your transformation. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Angelic Footprints podcast. Today we are taking a deep dive into angels Haniel, Seraphiel, and Cassiel, otherwise known as the angels of the moon, purifying fire, and sacred solitude. Let's take a look at more information about some of these angels. Now, Haniel is also known as the lunar archangel, and the name Haniel translates to glory of God or grace of God. And in Kabbalistic tradition, this archangel is associated with the Sephirah Netzach on the tree of life, which represents eternity or victory. The Secret of the Tarot notes that Haniel helps us connect with the eternal aspects of ourselves, the soul that exists beyond time. Unlike many archangels who are represented as gender neutral, Haniel is consistently described in modern spiritual literature as having distinctly feminine energy. The Black Feather Intuitive and Ask Angels both emphasize that Haniel embodies what contemporary spiritual teachers call divine feminine energy, which encompasses intuition, receptivity, emotional wisdom, and those nurturing qualities. In ancient texts, specifically the Book of Enoch, number 3 Enoch, Haniel appears as one of the angels who transported the prophet Enoch to heaven in a fiery chariot. This text describes how Enoch was eventually transformed into the archangel Metatron, one of the highest-ranking angels. Haniel's role in this transformation positions her as a bridge between the human and divine realms. This is one of the few reliable ancient references to Haniel. The archangel does not appear in the canonical Bible, making her what scholars classify as an apocryphal angel, one that is found in texts outside the official biblical canon. And this comes from Joyful Medium. In the Kabbalistic Tree of Life system, Haniel is one of the 10 Sephiroth angels. Each Sephiroth angel oversees a different aspect of divine energy as it emanates from the source. Haniel's domain, as I said earlier, is Netzach, the 7th Sephirah, which represents endurance, victory, and eternal aspects of existence. The connection to Netzach explains many of Haniel's attributed qualities in modern angelology. Victory and eternity relate to the cyclical nature of time, the eternal return of seasons and moon phases, and the enduring qualities of the soul. And this comes from the secret of the tarot. Contemporary spiritual literature consistently associates Haniel with the moon and lunar cycles. According to Flowing with Angels and Ask Angels, they describe Haniel as the personification of moon energy in angelic form. This association appears to be primarily a modern development rather than one rooted in ancient texts. Modern practitioners, according to Flowing with Angels, believe Haniel teaches humans how to work with lunar phases for spiritual and practical purposes. The full moon is considered optimal for releasing what no longer serves, while the new moon is viewed as ideal for setting intentions and planting metaphorical seeds for new beginnings. Multiple sources identify Haniel as the primary angelic guide for developing intuition and psychic abilities. The Black Feather Intuitive describes Haniel as helping individuals access their inner knowing, those gut feelings and intuitive hits that provide guidance beyond logical reasoning. In modern angelology, Haniel is strongly associated with what spiritual teachers call divine feminine energy. This concept refers to qualities such as nurturing, compassion, intuition, receptivity, emotional intelligence, and the ability to go with the flow rather than to force outcomes. Ask Angels emphasizes that these qualities are not gender specific, but represent an energetic orientation available to all people, regardless of their gender. Some modern spiritual practitioners claim that Haniel helps healers and spiritual workers remember ancient healing knowledge. This comes from Joyful Medium, and the idea suggests that Haniel awakens dormant wisdom related to herbalism, energy healing, crystal work, and natural healing practices. This concept again appears to be a modern one and doesn't have roots in historical texts. In terms of colors and symbolism, turquoise appears to be the primary color associated with Haniel in modern spiritual practice. And turquoise is that beautiful blend of blue and green. This color represents the balance between heart energy, the green, and the throat chakra energy, the blue, symbolizing truth spoken from the heart. Some sources, including Ask Angels, also associate Haniel with magenta, a gorgeous pink-purple color connected to the soul star chakra, an energy center that exists above the crown of the head and helps us to facilitate connection to those higher spiritual realms. Modern practitioners who work with Haniel typically employ the following methods. They use moonstone crystals, as acknowledged by medium Lisa Beachy, who identifies moonstone as Haniel's primary crystal, and that's valued for its milky white appearance that resembles moonlight. 709 Crystal Corner and other sources recommend working with Haniel during full moon and new moon phases for that maximum energetic alignment. Angel Throne recommends jasmine, lavender, and rose scents when invoking Haniel's presence. Some practitioners also suggest using turquoise or pale blue candles to attune to Haniel's frequency. According to modern angelology sources, Haniel provides help with developing intuition and psychic abilities, emotional healing and understanding, finding joy and grace during difficulties, strengthening connection to divine feminine energy, dream interpretation, healing from heartbreak and betrayal, learning to trust intuitive guidance, and balancing the heart and throat chakras. The Black Feather Intuitive and other sources describe these as potential indicators of Haniel's presence. For example, repeated sighting of turquoise colors, tingling sensations in the third eye or crown chakra, sudden intuitive insights, dreams featuring the moon or water, unexpected emotional calm and balance, or even a gentle, nurturing presence. The majority of information about Haniel comes from modern spiritual sources rather than ancient religious texts. The lunar associations, color correspondences, and specific areas of assistance appear to be relatively new developments in New Age and metaphysical communities. The only reliable historical reference is the brief mention in 3 Enoch regarding Haniel's role in transporting Enoch to heaven. The consistency of Haniel's portrayal across multiple modern sources suggests a coherent contemporary tradition. And while there doesn't seem to be much ancient textual information about Haniel, that does not diminish Haniel's power and importance among the angels and archangels. Which brings us to the second of the angels that we are going to cover today, and that is Seraphiel. The name Seraphiel means chief of the seraphim or prince of God. This angel's name directly references his role as leader of the seraphim, the highest order of angels in traditional Christian angelology. The term seraph, where you have the plural seraphim, comes from the Hebrew word meaning to burn or burning ones, referencing the fiery nature of these celestial beings. Seraphiel appears most prominently in 3 Enoch, again similar to Haniel. It is an ancient Jewish apocryphal text that describes the heavenly realms and angelic hierarchies. In this text, Seraphiel is described as impossibly tall as the 7 heavens stacked upon each other. His face resembles an angel's face, but his body is described as eagle-like and covered in brilliant flames. One of the most striking features in 3 Enoch's description is that Seraphiel's body is covered with eyes that shine like stars. These eyes represent his unwavering focus on God. He never looks away from the divine presence. The text also describes Seraphiel wearing a massive sapphire crown, so large that ancient writers claimed it would take 502 years of travel to reach from its bottom to its top. This hyperbolic description emphasizes the incomprehensible scale of heavenly beings. While Seraphiel himself is not mentioned in the canonical Bible, the seraphim appear in the book of Isaiah, specifically at Isaiah 6, paragraphs 1 to 7. The prophet Isaiah describes a vision in which he sees seraphim surrounding God's throne, each with 6 wings, 2 wings covering their faces, which means that they're unable to look directly at God's full glory. Then there's 2 wings covering their feet, representing humility, and 2 wings for flying. The seraphim in Isaiah's vision continuously chant, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory." This phrase, known as the Trisagion, is central to understanding Seraphiel's role. And the source for this information is Learn Religion. In Kabbalistic mysticism, Seraphiel is identified as one of the leaders of the Merkabah, the divine chariot or throne of God. The Merkabah angels guard God's throne and test those who seek deeper spiritual mysteries through meditation and prayer. According to Kabbalistic teaching, Seraphiel ensures that seekers are spiritually prepared before granting them access to hidden knowledge. This testing process examines whether individuals have done sufficient inner work, released ego attachments, and approach with pure intentions. Again, the source for this is Learn Religions. Seraphiel's primary responsibility is leading the seraphim in eternal worship of God. Learn Religions and Stars Psychics both describe how Seraphiel directs the chanting of the Trisagion. This is not casual singing, but an expression of overwhelming divine love. The seraphim are so consumed by God's holiness that they cannot help but proclaim it continuously. Seraphiel teaches new songs to the angelic choir and conducts this eternal worship. The primary role attributed to Seraphiel in ancient and modern sources is purification through divine fire. Learn Religions and Celestial Inspiration explain this concept using the metallurgical metaphor. Just as gold is refined by heating it until impurities burn away, Seraphiel's fire purifies souls by burning away sin, negative patterns, and spiritual impurities. This purifying fire is described as simultaneously painful and pleasurable, uncomfortable because it exposes and eliminates flaws, yet ultimately relieving because it cleanses and lightens the soul. According to various sources, including Mythos and Legends Wiki, Seraphiel is described as the protector and mentor of Metatron. This is particularly significant because Metatron was originally the human prophet Enoch before his transformation into an archangel. Seraphiel guided and protected Enoch during this extraordinary transformation. Learn Religion states that Seraphiel works closely with Archangel Michael to bring divine justice and truth into the world. Together with Metatron, these three angels radiate the Creator's energies of compassion and justice from heaven throughout all creation. The dominant color associated with Seraphiel is red, representing fire, passion, and the burning love of the divine. Learn Religions and Stars Psychics both emphasize this really strong, fiery aspect. Additional colors are green, which represents healing aspects and spiritual growth, as well as sapphire blue from the sapphire crown described in ancient texts. Wikipedia and Stars Psychics note that in magical and astrological traditions, Seraphiel is associated with the planet Mercury, which represents communication, messages, and speed, Tuesday, which is the day of action and warrior energy, and the north direction in ceremonial magic. Interestingly, sun signs and stars psychics describe Seraphiel as resonating with moon magic, tides, seasons, and the phases of life. This is interesting because it creates an overlap with Haniel's lunar associations. This lunar connection appears to be a modern addition to Seraphiel's traditional attributes and does not appear in ancient texts like 3 Enoch or the Book of Isaiah. The association may reflect contemporary attempts to understand angels through elemental and astrological correspondences. According to both ancient and modern sources, Seraphiel provides assistance with spiritual purification by burning away negative patterns, sins, and spiritual impurities to reveal the pure essence of the soul. Seraphiel is also associated with developing devotion, which means inspiring deep spiritual practice and connection to the divine, similar to the seraphim's burning passion for God. Seraphiel also provides assistance with personal problems, specifically things like lying, deception, feeling neglected or oppressed, perhaps even gossip, slander, and harassment. This comes from sun signs. Seraphiel's fire helps individuals see these issues clearly and find strength to address them. Star Psychics notes that Seraphiel reveals the secrets of holiness during meditation and prayer, helping individuals discover their spiritual purpose. And despite the intense fire energy, Star Psychics describe Seraphiel as capable of calming the mind and releasing fears, troubles, and worries. The fire burns away anxiety, leaving peace. Modern practitioners work with Seraphiel using timing. For example, Tuesday is considered the optimal day. Those seeking serious spiritual transformation should approach Seraphiel prepared for intense change. In terms of creating a sacred space, you can use red candles, a strong cleansing incense such as frankincense or sandalwood, a quiet, uninterrupted space, and willingness for honest self-examination. Spooky Sight recommends crystals like amber for protection and warm energy, garnet for grounding and spiritual commitment, fire agate for inner strength and courage, and seraphinite, a rare green stone named after the seraphim with patterns resembling angel wings. Wikipedia and other sources note that Seraphiel is sometimes called the angel of silence. This may seem contradictory for an angel who leads a choir, but the explanation relates to transcendence beyond words. The seraphim's worship is so perfect and complete that it transcends verbal expression. The deepest truths can only be experienced in silence. Seraphiel is a very powerful angel to have by your side when you want to see issues clearly, when you want to get rid of some deeper personal problems, and if you want to find your spiritual path. Which brings us to the final angel of today, and that is the angel Cassiel, also known as the angel of solitude. Cassiel appears under numerous name variations across different texts: Kafsiel, Kaziel, Quafsiel, and others. The most common translation of the name is Speed of God, though this seems somewhat contradictory to Cassiel's actual attributes related to patience and endurance. Cassiel is also known by other descriptive names such as the Angel of Tears, Silent Watcher, and Lord of Karma, and this comes from the source medium. Unlike Haniel and Seraphiel, Cassiel does not appear in ancient apocryphal texts like the Book of Enoch. The earliest reliable references to Cassiel come from medieval grimoires and Kabbalistic texts rather than ancient religious scriptures. In the Kabbalah, Cassiel is said to rule the seventh heaven, called Araboth. This is considered the highest heaven, the realm closest to God's throne, and the place of pure spirit. This positioning creates an interesting paradox. The angel of solitude, tears, and difficult lesson rules the most sacred and elevated heaven. Magic and Mastery notes that Cassiel appears in medieval astrological and magical texts as the ruling angel of the planet Saturn. This association with Saturn defines virtually all of Cassiel's attributed qualities and areas of influence. In traditional astrology, Saturn represents time and maturity, discipline, structure and limitations, hard lessons and consequences, karma and natural law, patience and perseverance, and the principle of reaping what you sow. As Saturn's ruling angel, Cassiel embodies all of these qualities. Bible analysis and magic and mastery both emphasize that Cassiel is not the angel to invoke for quick miracles or instant relief. Instead, Cassiel helps with understanding why things take time, learning patience, and enduring difficult periods. The connection to Saturn extends to timing. Magic and Mastery notes that Saturday, which is literally Saturn's day, is the optimal time for working with Cassiel. Saturday has traditionally been a day of rest and spiritual reflection in many cultures, aligning with Cassiel's contemplative nature. Cassiel's association with solitude goes beyond physical aloneness. According to medium Tracy Dixon, who describes Cassiel as understanding the feeling of isolation that can occur even when surrounded by people. That sense of disconnection, of viewing life through glass, of being present but not truly connected. The distinction in modern angelology is important. Cassiel does not eliminate loneliness by bringing companionship or distraction. Instead, Archangel Secrets explains Cassiel helps transform loneliness into sacred solitude, a time for deep reflection and self-discovery. The designation of Angel of Tears does not refer to despair. Again, medium Tracy Dixon explains that Cassiel's tears represent wisdom gained through hardship, the depth of emotion that defines humanity, and the cathartic release of finally allowing oneself to cry. Cassiel's presence is described as compassionate witnessing. He does not remove pain but witnesses it with understanding and helps individuals find the wisdom hidden within their suffering. Unlike the vivid descriptions of Seraphiel or Haniel, Cassiel is typically depicted in simpler, more somber imagery. Imagine a solitary cloaked or hooded figure with dark robes, perhaps standing alone, gazing contemplatively, sometimes with downcast eyes or a melancholic expression. And this comes from Bible analysis. The colors associated with Cassiel are dark and muted, deep indigo, black, dark blue, or pale washed out tones. These colors represent depth, mystery, introspection, and melancholy, not in the sense of clinical depression, but in the older meaning of contemplative sadness. Again, sourced from biblical analysis. Magic and Mystery discusses a mysterious aspect of Cassiel's law. He presides over the deaths of kings. This concept relates to astrological symbolism rather than literal political events. In astrology, the sun represents kingship and rulership. The sun is strongest in summer, but symbolically dies at the winter solstice, the darkest day of the year. This is when the Saturn-ruled signs, Capricorn and Aquarius, take dominance. Cassiel, as Saturn's angel, oversees this symbolic death and rebirth. The sun is reborn just after the winter solstice, which explains why many cultural celebrations, including Christmas, occur at this time. Cassiel teaches that endings are necessary for new beginnings. One of Cassiel's most distinctive characteristics is non-interference. Conscious Reminder describes how, unlike Michael, who actively fights evil, or Raphael, who actively heals, Cassiel primarily observes and witnesses. This does not indicate distance or lack of care. Rather, Cassiel understands that sometimes the most loving action is to allow someone to experience their lessons without rescue. He provides presence, companionship, and witnessing, but will not remove growth opportunities. Angelorium and other sources refer to Cassiel as the Lord of Karma. This relates directly to the Saturn association. Karma in this context means natural consequences, the principle that actions create results. Cassiel helps individuals understand karmic patterns by revealing connections between current experiences and past choices, including, according to some traditions, past life choices. More importantly, Cassiel helps people accept their karma with dignity and use it for growth. According to many modern spiritual sources, Cassiel provides help with acceptance, which is finding peace with circumstances that cannot be changed, with divine timing, and helping and understand why things take time to develop and release frustration with delays. Cassiel also provides help with isolation and wisdom through hardship, finding lessons, growth opportunities, and hidden gifts within difficulties. And finally, also with patience and self-discipline, developing long-term focus and determination. And one of those sources is Bible analysis. According to Archangel Secrets, Cassiel also provides help with helping lost souls. Archangel Secrets notes that an interesting belief is that Cassiel helps souls who died without spiritual awareness find their way in the afterlife. Those concerned about deceased loved ones who lacked spiritual practice can ask Cassiel to guide them. In terms of sacred space, Bible analysis recommends dark blue or black candles, having a simple, undecorated, quiet space with deep, earthy incense, journaling for recording insights, and overall silence, because Cassiel appreciates stillness. The black feather intuitive suggests a meditation practice distinct from other angels. Instead of visualizing bright light, people should imagine sitting in a dark, quiet space with Cassiel as a cloaked figure sitting in silent companionship. This practice involves sittings with whatever feelings arise. That may be sadness, loneliness, frustration, confusion, without attempting to eliminate them, allowing Cassiel's presence to bring peace within the difficulty. The black feather intuitive also identifies Cassiel as the angel of temperance, connecting him to the tarot card bearing that name, and it is card number 14. The temperance card represents balance, patience, and the ability to harmonize opposing forces. This association fits Cassiel's energy perfectly. He helps find balance between extremes, patience when urgency tempts, and the capacity to hold opposites together without forcing resolution. Angelorium and other modern sources emphasize that working with Cassiel is not appropriate for those seeking to avoid responsibility or blame others for their problems. Cassiel requires honest self-examination. He will show individuals where their own choices contributed to current circumstances. This is not about shame or punishment, but about empowerment. Seeing one's part in creating reality also reveals one's power to change it. Archangel Secrets and the Black Feather Intuitive both mention an unusual detail in Cassiel's law. He can understand the language of dolphins. The reason for this association is unclear, but it does connect Cassiel to the sea and to wisdom, as dolphins are considered highly intelligent and spiritual creatures in many cultures. Cassiel's law is almost entirely medieval and modern rather than ancient. The Saturn association appears consistently across sources and provides a coherent framework for understanding this angel's attributes. However, virtually no ancient apocryphal texts mention Cassiel by name. The consistency of Cassiel's portrayal across astrological, Kabbalistic, and modern spiritual sources suggests a well-established tradition, even if it lacks the ancient textual foundation of angels like Michael and Gabriel. In conclusion, these three angels offer distinct approaches to spiritual development. Haniel represents intuitive, cyclical, and lunar wisdom. Her tradition is primarily modern but maintains remarkable consistency across sources. The emphasis on feminine energy, moon phases, and intuitive development reflects contemporary spiritual interests in natural cycles and inner knowing. Seraphiel, on the other hand, bridges ancient and modern traditions. The biblical foundation for the seraphim provides legitimacy, while 3 Enoch provides specific details about Seraphiel's role. Modern editions like moon magic connections and crystal correspondences layer the newer practices onto an ancient foundation. The purifying fire theme remains consistent across all sources. Which brings us to Cassiel. Cassiel represents the most challenging aspects of spiritual growth, being patience, solitude, and hard lessons. The Saturn connection provides a coherent astrological framework that appears consistently from medieval to modern sources. Cassiel's tradition is primarily medieval and modern, with strong roots in astrological magic and the Kabbalah. Understanding the historical development of each angel's tradition, distinguishing ancient sources from medieval magical texts from modern spiritual interpretations, allows us to work with these energies with both respect for tradition and awareness of modern additions. I hope that's been really insightful to understand more about the angels Haniel, Seraphiel, and Cassiel. If you enjoyed this particular episode of the podcast, please share it with 3 people who you know could really benefit from it. And I also invite you to consider please leaving a 5-star review on the platform where you are listening, because the more you like it, the more others are going to love it as well. And that spreads the angel message far and wide. In the meantime, if you would like to have a connection with me to give you an angel or spiritual reading, do get in touch. My email is dagmarbryant@gmail.com. I hope to hear from you. Until the next episode, blessings, and may your life be filled with hope and inspiration.